This episode of Induction Noise was recorded on location in the scrutineering bay of the 9 Hours of Illamuna. Well, hi guys, and welcome to Induction Noise. Today, we are recording at Mischief Garage for what is the beginning of our Lemons journey officially. Because today is scrutineering. Behind us over there, we got cars being checked out for safety requirements and bribery. I mean, just safety requirements.
Budgeting.
Budgeting.
I think there's one or two cars here that might fail the budget check, but
They may or may not be 700,000 pound oversharing on catering budgets, but we'll see.
But
So-
at the end of the day, it's all about the fun. So no matter how much we bang on about budget or whatever car it is, it's all about the fun. So just always remember that.
But we've been through scrutineering. We've been scrutinized and we're legal.
Yes,
we
we've
passed
passed.
with flying colors, so
Fantastic. So, I am Mr. Q. With me as always, Neil, Andre, Niku,
Yep.
and joining us is the owner of our lemon, Marcel,
Andre's brother.
Andre's brother. We
little
apologize profusely.
the lemon farmer.
The mad scientist behind daily driving a rally car, basically.
So if you guys are watching on YouTube, you're going to be seeing this on the screen right about now. But this is our lemon. It is a Ford Figo. And it is a particular shade of green.
Yes.
It's also a rally car, am I right?
Yes. Full on rally car.
Only on weekends.
Only on weekends. And during the week, it's your daily driver, right?
Yes, daily the whole time, no problems whatsoever.
which is quite strange for a Ford, but
Which is-
it.
Yeah,
Says
it's
the
like
man who drives Alphas.
the crazy part is I own Alphas. Andre owns the Alphas. Andre's father, that's also driving with us, also owned the Alphas. And Marcel also owned the Alpha.
Used
so
to own
I
Alphas.
used to own Alpha.
Yeah, so it's a lot of Alpha people driving a Ford.
For our sins.
Well, yeah, I had two options. To walk, I wanted to buy an Alpha or the Ford. So I settled with the Ford because we lived on a farm at that stage and I would not drive my Alpha on the farm.
Okay.
So that's why I opted out on the Ford.
I mean,
so it's like
well,
a 5-door bucky.
Yeah, it's actually
Okay.
I must agree with you. An Alpha wouldn't survive the farm, so the Ford was probably a better option.
Look at this Ford people. Ford people unite. Always talking. Ford people are like blue bulls, eh? They always talk nonsense.
We
they've
got blue
never,
badges, what can I say?
you've never heard about a Brera saying. A Brera saying is it's the best 4x4 by far, man.
Exactly.
No.
Well, I certainly think you guys have got one of probably the best developed cars because the amount of racing that Marcel has done in it.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know about you guys. I'm not driving, but I feel pretty confident about you guys finishing the 9 hour quite strong.
Yeah, I don't know.
Basically.
I don't see a lot of these cars actually finishing, but I'm pretty confident with ours. I think ours is going to be one of the cars that actually completes the 9 hour.
Yeah, and it's been tested. I mean, Marcel has put probably like 60,000 kilos on it of rally driving, not road
That's
driving.
a long rally.
driving.
Let's just clarify. Most of that is driving to the rally.
I mean,
And then, drive to the rally,
Cairo.
drive it back, and drive it like you stole it every day. So,
So you guys have done some testing on the track with the Lemon.
Yes.
What kind of times are we getting out of it?
So I would say the slowest time we had was a 1:54. My dad, who's 72, it's his first time racing. So that was pretty good. And the fastest, I think I did a 1:48. We were all sort of 1:48, 1:49. But we are one of the few racers where moving to road tires will be not a downgrade for us, but it will be an upgrade.
Yes.
So the Dunlop tires that we are given, that everybody needs to race on, is more sticky than the tires that we actually had on the car. So
I mean, how old are the tires that are on there right now?
well, a few years, and they did about 20, 30,000 Ks already on them, but
It's the Sava tires.
So
Yeah.
they've lived. They've lived.
they love
They've lived. Okay, fair
and
enough.
still clinging
So,
on.
guys, we sometimes escape to a little place called Mexico, where we go and do some moderately paced driving, shall we say?
Yes.
So we
All-
thought it would
all
be
above board.
Yeah, all above board. So we actually thought it would be quite cool to give our car a little bit of a Mexican theme,
Yes.
given the color that it is.
We had no idea what we were going to name it, so we thought it had nothing to do with Mexico, right? The name. So we thought, completely unrelated. The color of the car is green,
Green.
right? Yeah. It goes. So we decided on Green Go. So
Which
Green
you
Go
know,
for short.
it translates for traffic lights. It
Exactly.
translates for the car, but it also sounds Mexican.
It sounds, but it's not.
But it's not.
Especially if you say it in a Mexican accent, it sounds really
gringo.
Mexican. It sounds
Yes,
really,
but
really
it's not.
Mexican.
It's
But it's
not.
not about that.
It's not that word.
It's not that word, because
Yes.
that word is.
Oh, yeah.
Could be conceived as being inappropriate.
I wouldn't know. I don't speak Spanish.
But it will never be inappropriate. Where would we ever be inappropriate?
Perdón, señor. Mi no hablar
We're-
español.
We're family people. I mean, come on.
Family oriented.
Family
I'm
oriented.
the only one with a family, guys. What are you talking about?
What do you mean? We're
We
going
only-
family racing.
We only have one goal, and that's to have fun.
Juan goal.
Neil's going to be our Adrian Newey. He's going to work out some lap times there and optimal tire pressures, etc.
I've already got some signage made. I will keep that for the race day. What that will basically entail.
So my wife is a very organized person. You will never say that if you look at me, but my wife is very organized. And she asked me last night. She asked me, so how long? Who's gonna start? Like, how long are you guys gonna be in the car? Like, how long will you get on a tank of petrol? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. We'll see.
If you hear that, that is one of the lemons, Audi A3. That's pulling through, and
So
you'll
we
probably.
So we get live induction noise in the background.
I think that's exduction noise.
Here comes another one. Probably it's the Drift Boys. It's my people.
This is that's my favorite 50,000 rand car that's
Yes.
here, by the way.
We've got the only 55,000 rand Nissan 350Z in the world.
So if anyone is listening, you've got a 55,000 and 350Z, hit me up because I'll buy it from you now.
I would also like to buy
basically.
one. We'll have a few.
We'd fill a garage with them.
Start a race team.
Yeah, exactly. We'd start our own team. We can have several cars entered, and it'd be great. 55 grand 350s it. I don't think so. But anyway, be that as it may, you guys have gone through the whole scrutineering process now. Was there anything that you guys were nervous about going in there, or were you pretty confident that we are legal?
Well, I had sleepless nights about the roll cage because there were certain things that were alarming, but we fixed it up, and I've got the head of Women's Safety on my phone where he approved the changes we did. So when they started scrutineering, I was on my phone ready to show them, no, look, your boss approved it. But apparently
Wasn't necessary to pull out the
flying
big guns.
colors, yeah.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I was nervous about basically everything.
I still told Andre we should be here at the start. Then we see what everyone else is being failed on, and then we go scrutineer.
Yes.
Spend a bit of time spannering and getting it ready.
Marcel, you've obviously driven this car quite a lot on sprint rallies and that kind of thing. Is this the first time you're driving on track?
Yes, this would be my first time. It was always a dream, and came true.
And now you're coming to the prestigious motorsport event of the calendar.
The endurance event on the
The
South African
endurance
calendar.
event, Illamuna, which is, I think it's going to be awesome fun. I mean, even the vibe here today, it's been pretty cool. Just mingling with everyone, chatting to everyone,
Lots
and
of
seeing some of the
gears,
cool cars coming
people
through.
with T-shirts on and
Yeah,
hats
well,
and
I
themes.
must-
We've got the Warm Wille
Yeah.
team here with their T-shirts on.
I
and-
must admit, Kieran, your team has the biggest gear so far that I've seen.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are killing it, dude.
Challenge
We're
accepted.
gonna have
We'll
to
need
get them on here in a couple of minutes. And
We'll need to step it up, though.
I also have not seen like an event that's the first time that it's being held at Killarney where there was this much interest in it.
Yeah.
You know, it's quite cool to see how people got together and I mean there's the variety of cars is
Yeah.
amazing. Like it's going to be really really cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's a huge variety of golfs.
There's a huge variety of Golfs and BMWs, and then some
and golf
other cars.
BMWs.
Yes.
And golf
some,
BMWs, yeah.
Yes, Golfs that
Yeah.
are BMWs, and then some other cars.
No, well, one of the more interesting cars that I've seen is Mr. Sadia Matai's Jag. That's
Jag.
quite
Yeah,
interesting.
it's top
one.
Jag.
There's a Jag representing for my
S-Type.
people.
Yeah.
That's gonna be
Their
interesting.
fuel is apparently free. They're going to come and hand out IOUs at every garage, basically, and get some fuel.
Oh, sorry, old chap.
Oh,
I
sorry,
forgot
old
my
chap.
wallet at home. You know, if you can just top me up there.
They probably got their whole entry. They probably got that car for free, you know. So that's like we should do that next time. Just like rock up in a
They
Jag.
probably took the thing for a test drive, and now it's in here.
Yeah, exactly. The Oak is still
Somewhere-
waiting for it somewhere.
Somewhere there's an old bully who just came out of a restaurant, still looking for his wallet, going, "Oh dear, I seem to have lost my Jag somewhere." Marcel, talk us through the car. I mean, obviously it's a Ford Figo, but what else has gone into it? I mean, is it running trick suspension,
The extensive
racing
modifications,
braking
right?
systems, limited slip differential,
Well-
turbochargers, NOS, racing cams? It's obviously a very, very highly strung, tuned machine.
Well, it's basically stock standard. The only thing is induction noise, the big, or must I say the small air filter for
Cone
breathing,
filter.
the cone filter, and then some branches and exhaust, and that's basically that. And if you
So it's still stock Ford suspension, stock Ford brakes,
stock, everything stock. I tried.
interior stripped a bit.
Yes, the
But
interior is
essentially-
stripped out. Roll
The
cage,
interior is stripped a lot.
There's not much left of it.
interior stripped
To be
out.
fair, it's a Figo. There's not much interior to strip.
Not true. And yeah, it's basically standard. Never let me down. Normal shocks, everything.
And what mileage does it have on at the moment?
It almost have 200,000 on, and
So
I
it's basically run in now.
yes, I start racing it on. I think about 85. 92,000. I
So
started.
it's over 100,000 Ks of track
Yes.
of rally sprinting and daily use.
daily it, yeah, to the red line. So.
The other thing that's quite unique about this car is that this car will be probably one of the only cars that will have an easier life on track than what
it
it
does
normally
at
has
home.
on weekends.
yes.
Because in a rally sprint, it's normally bouncing off the limiter in first gear.
Good
Going
times.
through
First to third, if it stays on the limiter.
Flying through the air.
Well,
So we're gonna hold back on race day and just not drive it as hard as it normally goes.
But you've redone the engine at some stage, right? Or is it still on the stock engine? You've not touched anything of the internals yet?
no, stock engine.
Have you
nothing.
done a top gasket at some
Yeah, that's part of the reason. The top gasket blew about 2 years ago when it was still my wife's car, and we replaced it. And she drove it a year later on. She had a flat tire, and I'm just like, okay, replacing the tire, and just look at the oil and the water. And when I pulled the dipstick, the oil was touching the bottom of the dipstick, just touching it. I'm like, oh well.
That's not ideal.
Probably an issue.
Topped it up on oil and topped it up on water. And I told her, you take my car, I'm gonna take this one, I don't trust it. And since from that day on, it didn't see any, normal driving. I redline it and it didn't ever have any problems
Topped up
at
the
all.
oil and sent it.
Yeah, and
That's how you fix a Ford. You just top up the oil and send it.
exactly. And through the years, I see like the oil is level is dropping a bit, but not quite. And after servicing it December, I saw the oil filter was leaking. So I put on a new oil filter and it still
there we
runs
go.
smooth.
I think one of the things also, although you've not done a lot of track driving, I think with off-road driving, you've learned a lot of, the sort of skills to handle a car when it's, over the limit. And I think that you guys have, on the practice day, your spread between the driver times,
very close.
I think is actually quite close.
Yeah.
And that will be very interesting to see how that kind of like plays out over the 9 hours, right? Because I think if you've got some consistent drivers, consistent lap times,
and it's going to get closer. It should get closer.
Yeah, exactly. The more
you don't have a lot of
comfortable-
experience on track, and my dad also doesn't have a lot of experience on track. So as you drive more, the times are going to get closer.
Yeah.
And Niku's as smooth as Mr. Smooth Operator here.
Yeah.
Well, I try.
We use Niku's video that he took as kind of an example of the lines to take.
He was taking a nap on the main straight. It was like getting boring. He was taking a nap.
I'm pondering taking up smoking. I don't smoke at all, but I might just borrow a vape for the long straights to just keep me busy. But we'll see.
Okay, guys, well, I think that pretty much covers our car. Let's go see if we can grab some other teams, chat to them about their cars. I also want to chat to Sean O'Connell, the owner of this fantastic facility.
And sponsor of
Illamuna. And let's see if we can bargain our way into some bonus laps or penalty laps for some of the other teams. And
yeah, this has got to be worth something, right?
I don't know if this is like a patent pending work, but since we're in Mischief Garage, we'll get up to some mischief here, I guess.
There you go.
Lame. Guys, today's special on-location episode is brought to you by CodePure. CodePure is not just Niku's company, but they're also our official technology partner. Anything tech-related, we turn to these guys. So not only have they supplied the hardware for our on-location recordings, but they can also build all kinds of custom software to streamline your data flow at work. They can build you a system that predicts the optimal strategy for your lemon racing. Not that we're going to reveal our strategy. Or they can do desktop support, build a website, supply hardware. I mean, you think that they can do it. If it's technology related and you need a solution, go to codepure.co.za today and see what they can offer you. You'll thank us later. Okay.
Yeah.
So, guys, we are here with Mr. Matai, who's also driving a lemon, and you guys
don't
have...
insult our car.
Yeah.
He's not a lemon.
He's the one that forgot his wallet.
It's a gentleman's racer.
It's a gentleman's racer. You guys actually have a pretty cool car, and it sounds awesome.
That is a cool car.
Tell us what it is.
It is a Jaguar S-Type, 3-liter V6, and it's in manual, guys.
Wow.
Is it the 2-liter
expensive,
V6?
3-liter V6.
3-liter V6.
Sounds expensive.
That's the thing, right? It sounds expensive.
Big luxurious car
but
like
it's not.
Got to be worth more than 55,000 rand. I mean,
Yeah, no, there's going to be some penalty laps available.
a celebrity status, like ex-racer, all these things.
Ex-racer? What the Jeepers.
Sorry, I mean,
You come to guest on somesomeone's podcast and they bash you, eh?
put my foot right into that
I
one.
apologize profusely. This is the amateurs that I've got to work with. It's unbelievable. So you guys must have spent probably the majority of your time just
Polishing it.
ripping
polishing
weight
it.
out of that car.
Just cleaning it.
Just cleaning it.
That's all we did. We just cleaned it. Yeah,
Have you
you're
had
right.
it on the scale?
We took hundreds and hundreds of kgs of mass out of that car, and it still weighs like 2.2 tons.
So it's got nice downforce.
Plenty.
Oh,
Plenty
nice.
of downward force over the tires, yeah.
So in the wet, that should actually help. If it rains,
Whoa, don't talk
weight
about
should
the
be
wet.
it's going to rain,
What
right?
if like 6 rear-wheel drive cars in the field? That does not bode well for wet weather racing.
Well, I mean, some of the front-wheel drive cars is going scary through turn one. I mean, some of those City Golfs are going in hot into turn one. We saw some of them facing backwards at practice.
It only means that they're easier to pass. That's all.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think you guys are probably going to have the most comfortable 9 hours of everyone.
The car is surprisingly, as you say, comfy and easy to drive. It surprised us. We've had it out on track. It has done 5 or 6 laps. And it's a Jag. It's softly set up. It's got it's got power steering, assisted brakes, and it's surprisingly neutral. And I think that came from taking a lot of mass out the car. No back seats, no sound deadening. Drop the weight, and then we move the weights around. So we put the battery inside the rear axle line and low down. It's quite a big battery. We've got it quite low down, stripped out some weight. Like our fan motor, we moved from behind the dash, far forward, to behind the front seats. So it's still there, but it's between the axle lines and it's low down.
And presumably no aircon anymore.
Of course, it's got an aircon.
Fantastic.
And what gearbox did you put in? What gearbox did you put in it? Because it's a manual swap. You mentioned you manual swapped it.
They came with manual gearboxes.
Did they?
it was a manual.
Wow. Okay, so
But
it was
actually
a
The car didn't
manual.
come with the manual.
I need
Okay.
a 2 liter, right? It's a 2
No,
liter.
No, it's 3 liter
the
V6.
3 liter.
Oh.
Yeah, 3
So
liter
you
came.
found like you found the
manual
equivalent manual
So the
box.
original car, the motor was a V6 3 liter with an automatic transmission, and that said goodbye very quickly. And these things are about as cheap as a bag of chips, so we bought another one and dropped it in there, and it's run.
Awesome.
I noticed when you were climbing in it, like you said, like, oh, we're talking about comfy, but as soon as you like sat in the seat, I noticed it was quite stiff. So
Yeah.
I imagine you guys have tweaked a little bit, like there's some. You've applied some of your experience from Killarney.
we
there
had
already,
to. There was a lot of body roll,
Yes.
and realized that this is not going to be great for turning a decent lap time. So it's got the stock spring in, but it's been hardened and then just cut a coil off to bring the center of gravity down a little.
Okay.
So, proper Mitchell's Plain tuning here.
Mate, it's all done on a dime and a shoestring.
That's what
There's no high-end engineering
We've
here.
seen some cars roll through here that we very seriously have to question if they actually come in under the scrutinized budget. What would you guesstimate is your spend on your car thus far?
The base car was 25, if you can believe that. That's
Crazy.
Wow.
It seems nobody wants these things.
Yes.
Nobody wants to buy, and that was a road car.
Yeah.
It did not. It had no race pedigree, no race history. It is a full-on road car. People do not want to buy an S-type Jag for the cost of repairing one to keep it on the road.
Yeah.
Of course, being a track car, we didn't need the niceties. I mean, you asked about aircon; it's been junked.
Yeah.
It had 24 warning lights on the dash. None of that applies to us.
Yeah.
ABS is gone. All the unnecessary crap
Things that can
essentially.
break and cost you money. typically.
Yeah, it's all gone, So
Nice.
it made for a good base, which is
Very cool.
quite, counterintuitive. You think Jaguar race car, that's going to cost a lot, but the motor is standard. Standard ECU, standard motor. Nothing to change.
Perfect.
We did a plug change.
And that's basically a Ford Duratec V6, so it is bulletproof.
Exactly.
It's basically a Noble engine, right?
Yeah.
a
Same
Noble.
engine that the
Without the
Noble
turbos.
uses
Without the turbos, yeah.
Well, our car, you can't see them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it was like behind the back seat, yeah.
They're very well hidden now.
So those rear mount
So that's
Yeah,
fine.
turbos.
That fan sitting in the back. Yes.
Don't talk about the fan.
It's a fan
Don't
behind
talk
the front
about the
seats,
fan
right?
at the back. Yeah,
It's like
Man.
the cooling fan on the
Connected to the
Porsche
exhaust
fan
system.
On the
cars.
Brabham Alphas with the F1 with the cooling fan.
cooling fan at the back. Yeah. So I mean, it's completely standard down to the steering wheel.
Yeah.
Love
It's
it.
just got the door handles.
Did you at least take the airbag out?
Oh.
What if he crashes it, man?
Why would you ask such difficult questions?
You know, Rabbit is racing, so it
No,
would
that's
be a
all
shame if
disconnected.
someone,
It's all been disconnected. And the
I was
car
going to
has-
say, that would be the ultimate overtaking maneuver. Just give him a little tap, blow his airbag up in his face.
and
We'll have to go
airbag.
research where those points on the bumpers.
So that typical over-engineering of that period. The car's got multiple sort of modules and control units and devices talking to each other. When we stripped a lot of that out, the warning lights, the dash came on. The auto electrician was, what did you guys do? And we're like, well, we've yanked some stuff out. And he says, okay, well, yeah, that one didn't make any difference, so, it doesn't matter. But things like the airbag, the ABS, the TC, ESP, all of it yanked out and long gone.
If you're a proper driver like you are, why do you need that stuff?
Yeah, why
But
do
it
you
is
do that
still
stuff?
it is still a Jag, so presumably you left the sound system and CD changer. in.
Yes, cassette tape player.
Is it the cassette tape?
Cassette
No.
tape.
You know, where
Yeah.
else is he going to listen to the classic FM
Classic
soundtracks?
FM, yeah. Classic FM all afternoon, yeah.
Turning consistent 135s. Classic FM.
Nice. So have you guys done any timed laps with the cars? Do you know what kind of times you're looking
Yes, we
at?
do.
Okay.
But it's a state secret. You know?
We know
now it's a-
exactly what it can do.
Now
yeah.
it's the serious races. You
I
know?
love it.
yeah.
I love the fact that there's like you can keep that. We're
a
looking
bit of
forward to see it.
competition
It's
there.
like
Yeah. Well, you
I love
guys,
it.
you guys will have to wait till maybe even Saturday to see the exact time.
Yeah.
Not even Friday.
Okay,
And, like, this is
you're
like
gonna
a
sandbag.
this
You're
is
gonna
like for Formula One pre-season basically. They was like, they're the quickest.
Full
No.
tanks all day. Yeah.
All day, yeah,
It's
exactly.
like a 2020 Mercedes sandbagging a bit. Like, no, we're a bit off the pace this year, guys. We're not going to dominate anything.
Neil, we are basically now busy with Drive to Survive, but
Yeah,
for the
exactly.
No, this is it.
we're creating the drama.
Squeezing to survive. Yeah.
Speaking of survival, are you guys quite confident that you're going to make the 9 hours?
The car is standard, which is a good start. You know, how much of abuse it'll take in 9 hours over, X number of gear changes and runs close to the red line, that's anyone's guess. And it's I guess the question that a lot of guys here will be hoping to answer by 7:15 on Saturday night,
Yeah.
Will it all hold together?
Yep.
And going back to your point about the times, the lap times, there are 4 drivers in our team, and 2 of them have never raced before.
Gee.
So we've got a bit of work to do should we want to try and challenge for the index of performance.
There's
There's
some parity.
yeah,
between all
exactly.
the drivers.
There's no point in me getting out there and doing a Banzai, a 35.1, and other guys in my team are doing 45s. That's just not gonna help anyone's cause.
Yeah.
So the guys invited me to drive, and one of the drivers in the car is a guy I used to compete against. He has an RX-7 Mazda, Jan,
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
and Donnie's never raced before, and Jake's the guy who's primarily done a lot of the work on the car. He's done a great job, by the way, Jake's. He spent quite a bit of time behind the wheel. He's had loads of fun, and Jake's is one of those guys who has found and started to enjoy this high-speed driving very late in life. And his question to us all the time is, why didn't I do this earlier?
Yeah.
Why didn't
Yeah.
I do this every time? And he's done a couple of laps in the Jag, and in another lemon, somebody was kind enough to let him do a few laps in another lemon, and sitting over a burger and coffee. I was just like, I can't believe I waited this long in my life to jump behind the wheel of a track car and a race car. And I'm like, yeah, we all feel that way when we start racing.
But I think that's a theme, right? I think that's something that we want to get across through all of this that we're doing and competing in this, is that more people should realize that, right? My dad's 72 now, he's racing now, and he's also like, why didn't he do this earlier?
Right.
So
I think Mark and his team have to be applauded. I think the series has really made racing attainable, but it's taken away the seriousness factor.
Yeah.
Which is where, you guys will know this very well, but racing almost across the board in SA has become too serious.
Yeah, absolutely.
Grown
Become very anarchy.
Besides anarchy, it's almost as though I would say grown men, because racing is by and large male in South Africa. We're addicted to plastic trophies. We got to win. You got to put the best tire on the car. You got to get the best suspension. You got to rebuild the motor. You got to be on the dyno all the time. You got to be practicing. And you get there on Saturday afternoon. You get a plastic trophy and a beer with your buddies, and you're like, someone's missed the point.
Yeah.
I think we forget that this is a hobby.
yeah,
Every one of us is there conducting our hobby. It's slightly expensive. Maybe not as expensive as, say, mountain biking today.
Yeah.
Or road cycling.
proper golfing.
Proper golfing, maybe golfing is slightly cheaper.
Depends on how proper,
Or
but-
playing, paddle or, tennis with your mates. It's just a hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They aren't...
It's just the best hobby there is.
It's
but,
it's a really cool hobby from our point of view, but they aren't scouts on the grandstands handing out driving contracts come Monday morning. And a lot of guys forget that.
What
Yeah.
are you?
Well,
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry to break this to you.
So why did I sign
Is this
up
the way?
for?
Is
I
this
mean,
the
that
way
was
you
the whole
found out
plan.
that Red Bull Junior Academy will not be on the
I thought we got to be signed up for the Double Apex Racing team. next
Double
year.
Apex
Exactly. That's
Racing.
why I'm going
I
doing
call
this.
it DART, yeah, the Double Apex Racing
Ah,
Team.
there you go.
Yeah.
But I always say this also whenever I'm at the karting, at the karting track. I always say like when you hear about how serious people take, it's like we're on the southern tip of Africa, in one of the best cities in the world. Just enjoy it, just focus on the enjoyment on it first and foremost. And I like the idea of competition, and it's about you competing against yourself. But I agree with you. I think it's sometimes it becomes the sort of rat race, and with that then creates a very negative atmosphere that I think not a lot of people will want to. It's supposed to be more welcoming, I think, as well. You're supposed to be able to have a platform where, as you said, two guys in your team hasn't raced before. We need more of that, basically, to get people introduced into the sport. Because when I started, I felt like I'm fresh meat. Walking around there, everyone is like kind of like checking you out. What are you doing here? You go out on track. You maybe do a bit of iffy things. We should create an environment where people feel that they can, come to the track and enjoy it, basically. And
I hear
compete.
your point about karting, and I'm not saying there isn't a place to make a career out of motorsport. We have South African boys competing at the top levels, around the world, not just in SA, but in the US, in Europe, in Japan, and other places. But that old adage holds true constantly, that if you want to succeed in motorsport, you have to choose your parents very carefully.
Absolutely.
And you choose your parents carefully, like Lance Stroll or somebody similar, and you can have a very long and successful career.
Absolutely.
Which is great, great for them. And if you're at the southern tip of Africa and you have a very limited budget, and you need to make it known first to yourself in your head and to your kids that this is going to be your weekend relaxation.
Yes.
You are not going to become, unless you're very, very good and very fortunate,
And have a lot of
lucky,
money.
and have
And
tons
win the
of
lottery.
money,
And in the right place at the
in
right
the right
time.
place at the right time,
Absolutely.
you are unlikely to be a career racing driver.
Yeah.
You don't have to be in the top 0.01% drivers in the world to get paid to do, as opposed to, say, being a dentist or an accountant or a lawyer. You make a career as a lawyer regardless of how good you are. So, yes, there's certainly there are examples, very good examples of guys becoming career racers or becoming paid racing drivers. If you guys can name me more than 6 in South Africa who get paid to race, I will be surprised.
Yeah. And we're not considering the investment it took to get them there.
Oh no, that's
that's also, you don't want to make that sound.
the 10 million USD before you land in Europe. Because that's the kind of money we're referring to these days. It's millions of USD before you've got into a proper series in Europe.
Well, that's one of the reasons why Lemons is such a good idea, because you can get into it for next to nothing with a car that you stole at the end of the road, and we can go racing.
Again, that's I say hats off to Mark and his team. The series has grown from year one, I think, which was about 3 or 4 years back, with a 24-hour and expanded into a 9-hour version. And for him to bring it here is quite cool. I think he will see some cross-pollination. Guys from Cape Town will go to race in Johannesburg and vice versa. It will be really cool when he gets to a point where there's perhaps a third track thrown in for good measure. And then, I've done, I think at last count, 3 or 3,500 laps of Killarney, somewhere in that region. And it's great. Killarney is a nice circuit to learn to drive, whatever.
But a bit of variety is always...
You want to go somewhere else, You want to have a burger one day and pizza the next. So you want to go to Red Star Raceway and do laps, and you want to go to maybe Daisy Raceway and do laps. So hopefully Mark can expand to that point, and it looks like he's heading that way.
Yeah.
And again, hats off. They've created an arena for guys who wouldn't normally consider it. You don't have to pull out a GT3 Porsche or a Skyline or an M4 or a 350Z or something wildly powerful and ridiculously expensive to go racing and have fun. And I think that's the bottom line here, is that it's not about who wins this thing.
Yeah.
It's come and have a blast. Drive as fast as you're comfortable driving. Rub your teammates and rib your competition. And at the end of the day, you all sit in the clubhouse and have a beer and a burrito roll and talk racing stories for countless hours.
Do you think it's a bit of a homage to the way that the guys race? I mean, we always talk about, yesteryear and all that. And I don't like that discussion a lot of the time, but I like the fact that I see cars with number plates on here. And you always hear the stories from back in the day where the guys used cars, there was this, I don't know if it was Serge Damsey, the story where he used his sister's car, that they stripped the interior out of.
There's many rally stories like that.
And they raced it and then put the interior back on again and then they sold it. And I kind of get this sort of vibe. You see here the guys are rocking up with roadworthy cars, driving it for 9 hours.
Our car was driven here from the northern suburbs down to Wynberg, and it was driven back straight after. It runs fine. It could probably go from here to George if you asked it nicely enough and you had some earplugs in. But yeah, it does go back to those.
You don't see that in a clubman's or in a, it is what it is. It's a race. But what I'm trying to say is, in the old, to Neil's point, in the old days, clubman's used to be. So my dad's best friend Andre Ellis used to race Alphas. He still races in Alpha and classics from time to time. But he used to race in clubman's, and clubman's used to be cars on Mari Biscuit road tires. The tires that the car came with steel wheels on it, and roadworthy cars. You could race it on like fine cars. We used to have fine cars in the old days when it started. Race it on Sunday.
And the guys used to drive it there.
Now it's a bit more serious. Now it's a bit more.
It's interesting you mentioned the rally days and guys running road cars. I'm friends with the Kruger family, and the dad used to race in the 90s, and then he gave up, and both his kids raced, Jeff and Robin.
Yes.
And Jeff's gone on to win national titles in multiple countries.
Yeah.
From that regard, he's probably one of the most successful racing drivers that South Africa has produced in the last 10, 12 years.
Not that well known, but very good.
Right, exactly. He's won a national title in India. He's won a national title in Hungary. Titles in SA. This is as a multinational, international title holder. His sister used to race.
Yes.
And John used to race in the 90s. And I spent a lot of time with them when I raced Polo Cup in the pits.
Yes.
And John said to me at one stage, I forget the car, it could have been like a Ford XR3 or something like that. And he bought one on hire purchase and then crashed it, wrote it off, and then bought a second. And he started to race the second one. And then his bank manager says, he seems to be friends with his bank manager, he says, where's the first car? And he goes, no, it's written off. And he says, just be thankful I'm still paying you for both the cars. Even though he didn't have a car, he had HP on 2 cars, both of which were his race cars, which was absolutely, mind-blowing. None of us are going to go into a dealer this week, buy something, go racing, crash it, and then just, keep paying for the rest of the 4-year period. And racing just become so serious that so you don't even drive a fine car to the track anymore. They're all trailered. They're trailered in, they're trailered out. Very few of them have reg numbers anymore. Thankfully, they're still on some sort of treaded tire. They're not on a full slick. But increasingly the categories become more and more serious. We spoke about clubman's. The cut-off time at clubman's now at the front end is so fast.
Oh yeah, but even the back end of, if you do a 135, you're going to be right at the back.
You're too slow.
F or G or something.
Yeah, you're too slow.
And being lapped at the speed of light, and
which is
so
maybe we missed the point of it.
So what do you think of this idea, right? I will float it with the powers that be. We will try and talk to the right people. But I thought everybody's having so much fun. There's all these cars that are race cars that now have somewhere to race. How about having like they do with the motorbikes, they've got this breakfast run class, right? So if you're like a breakfast runner on your bike, you can rock up and you can do a breakfast run race, right? So some of these oaks are quick with superbikes, but it's more friendly at Killarney on a racing Saturday. So how about having a Lemons class where you can have sprint races, that same kind of rules. Whatever these guys are racing at Lemons, you come and race at Killarney. Even if it's only one heat, on a race day. I'm just thinking, because you have these cars now, they're going to stand for a year unless they take
they're all
them
race prepped. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
hopefully a lot of them will spend time. Sorry, I'm looking at the at the NASCAR. It's got a yellow stripe on the gutter.
Oh,
It's
wow.
got a yellow LED on the gutter.
very,
So
very
it's gonna be easy to
fancy.
find. It's got them on both sides.
It's
It's
a
so cool.
Hyundai Sonascar.
It's a NASCAR. There you go.
Yeah.
It's a Hyundai Sonascar.
And it's got a flat wing at the back, like a 45-degree flat wing.
It's very important in those front-wheel drive cars to have downforce on the rear.
Yes,
Oh, yes.
exactly,
Oh.
exactly. And then you also have a nice shake and bake sticker on the back, as it
very cool.
should be.
Yeah.
Maybe that's an idea. It's up to Mark and them. When people are doing something and getting it right, it's important to leave them alone. I've had this discussion with many people over the years, friends and family and guys in racing, whatever. It's like, oh, you should come and help out with this class and help out with that class and whatever. And I'm like, if people are in admin and they're doing a good job, let them do a good job. And I want to race. First and foremost, I want to race.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a race administrator. We can float the idea. I like the idea of those cars being used again somewhere else.
Yeah.
I think E30 Cup here in Cape Town, E36 Cup in Cape Town
That's pretty cool.
does something very good
Yes.
in that there's no championship.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So every round of rallycross they have, they just do one on the day. There's no
wow.
points.
That's
you
cool.
win and you go home. So there's nothing to push hard for.
Yeah.
It's about the fun.
Yeah.
You come on the day, you race. Hey, you missed the day, so be it.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that. That's really
But the
cool.
thing with Lemons, I mean, we have so many cars that are ready to race.
Now,
Like, I mean,
yeah.
if there's 50 cars now, even if 10 of them show up, you can have a bit of fun. Well, you don't really want 10 cars on the track, but I mean, out of those 50, if you've got 15 of show up on this day, the next time there's 20, some guys stay at home, some other guys come race. Some
Yeah, it's
other
not a
guys
bad
build
idea.
cars and they test them for Lemons. They test the car for Lemons, whatever.
It's not a bad idea, and
job.
I don't know what sort of barrier Mark would run into, seeing as how this
Yeah.
is a WAMSA event.
It's maybe not as simple as it sounds.
Yeah,
but,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. It's
I'm
worth
just thinking
considering.
that
Yeah, yeah, I
those
hear you.
cars need somewhere to run. Otherwise, it's just standing in their
To
garage
be used
for a
after
year.
the fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr.
And-
Mazzai, I want to say thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, it's good.
We're going to
good
see
be
you
here.
at the track. And,
Yes.
since we're also in a Ford-ish kind of car,
You'll see me. I'll be the guy in my suit.
The Duratec boys.
And we're serving tea at 3 o'clock at Albert's.
There we
we
go.
will be there.
We
go.
will be there.
We will come and have high
you
tea
guys
at
bring
3.
the comforts. We'll be sorted. Yeah.
we will come and have high tea at 3.
High
with,
tea at
with
3, there we go.
Cucumber sandwiches.
I'm looking forward to
Lovely.
seeing you guys in my mirror and not my windscreen.
Yeah.
I mean, as we get larger, you just need to get out of the way.
Okay, yeah, sure. Actually, I will see my windscreen every time I put a lap on you, so it'll just be then.
That's very
That just
possible.
sounds like fighting
That's
talk.
likely.
Dim's
That is
fighting
very
words.
likely.
I'm just going to mute your microphone.
James
and-
fight words. James fight words. I'm looking
Ding,
forward
ding,
to
ding,
it.
ding, ding.
Thank you
Thanks
very much, guys.
We'll see you at the race.
Excellent.
Thanks.
All right, guys, welcome back. We are sitting here with Mr. Sean O'Connell, who happens to run this fantastic facility that we've been in today. Sean, tell us about Mischief. How did this happen? What do you guys do here? Other than getting up to obvious mischief, you've got a collection of some awesome cars in here. So tell us about what it is that you guys do.
Thank you. Nice having you guys. It looks quite futuristic here with all these microphones. No, it's really cool.
Half of the stuff doesn't do anything. It's just here to look cool.
Fake it till you make it.
Make it till you make it. No, it's an interesting question. I think first is passion. What's mischief? The word itself suggests what mischief is. My daughter's named both my businesses. Bumblebee is, I've got a yellow 911. And I came home one day many years ago and she said, "Oh, so how's Bumblebee?" And she was obviously referring to Transformers. And I needed a name for my then company and I called it Bumblebee was available. And my Exige S has got, it's branded as Mischief WP because I've kind of get up to a bit of mischief in that, as recently as yesterday on the track. And mischief just seemed to fit, So our model is really modeled on the Gas Monkey garage setup. I really think that having watched it for many years, I know it's died down a little bit now, but having watched it for many years, I kind of like the thought of lifestyle, cars. I'm a musician as well, so with Matthew, my son, being a musician, we brought it all together. We've got a studio, we make music, the bands rehearse here. We've got our Wacky Wednesdays, which is petrol heads getting together and having a braai and a beer, and the guys working on their cars, coming, just really sorting. So Mischief, until recently, as you know, we had Dynamics. So maybe start there. Dynamics was Herman Munker's business. All of you that know Herman is like Kwesi, Swanepoel, they're legends of the
Herman's
sport.
a legend.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's an absolute
If you
legend.
need something tuned, he's going to sort you out.
Absolutely. And he's very, very knowledgeable. And for a reason, he's been a business partner of mine now for 3.5 years. And he studies and does R&D all the time. He's always experimenting. He's always trying to get to the bottom of something. So that's why he's that good. And I think with that Dynamics, how we got together, we were talking about my Cobra. I got it delivered from Backdraft in 2020, and it just wasn't running well. No disrespect to Backdraft, it just wasn't running well down here. I got recommended to Herman. He had the car for 2 days, and it was not the same car. It was like transformed.
Yeah.
And then I said to him, I've got my Exeger's got a little knocking noise. It sounds like an engine mounting or whatever. He said, no, it's fine. I haven't worked on Exeger's, but bring it through. And he sorted it, but it was the rear engine mount. It had a slight crack in it. He said, look, to import this will take time, but he's also a fitter and turner by trade. So he said, no, I think I'll sort it for you. So he had it welded, and then he powder coated it. So I said to him, so why do you powder coat it? It's like right at the back. No one will see. He says, no, but I know, and I see.
Sure.
So that, I think, sums up Herman's work ethic and professionalism. But while I was there, I'd noticed that he's then only dyno. When I say only, it was just he just did dyno. He was hectic, and I call it hamster wheeling. When somebody's running and he was doing everything. And I took my Harper there. Do we mention Harpers on this?
Yeah, given
yours.
Even mine.
Yeah, we've given him grief.
We mention it
many
frequently.
times.
Yeah, we'll just edit.
Jim has come on and also given him the same grief.
We just edit some violin music in the background when we talk about these Harpers.
Mine's just a little behind schedule. Okay, guys, it's gonna
It's
run.
got more cylinders than mine, so it should take a bit more time to start.
But you've got two, so you make up for it.
No, one is mine, one's John's.
Okay.
But no, so I actually sat back and I said to him, and listen, don't you, because my main business is IT. We're a technology group. And I said to him, why don't we run a strat session on your business? It's just kind of, because it just looked like there were tons of cars, tons of clients, and Herman really, really hectic. So we had a strat session, and out of the strat session, if I can fast forward to today, is what you see here. We kind of came up with servicing but returning the trust and honest and reliable and professional servicing is something that's dear to me. Sean of 5 years ago didn't know who to go to, didn't know whether it was going to come out really, whether my money was being well spent. Your money gets well spent and well saved at Mischief, period. That's one of the cornerstones, especially women. We urge them to bring their vehicles here because really, that's why I set the business up. But after the 2 weeks, Herman came to we said, okay, we identified the tuning and chip tuning and writing of error codes and that, and then we had the dyno. I think the USP in this case, we've got a soundproof dyno room in the heart of southern suburbia, if you want, which is quite cool. You don't have to go into the outskirts of nowhere to avoid the noise. And then obviously I've got a collection, and for me it was about the lifestyle side, going on runs, going on tours. Our Z3 fleet it's a daily hire fleet, just like the Cape Cobra hire. Ross actually given me quite a lot of insights into the, let's call it, sports car hire business. So that's started to pick up nicely. So when all of this was put together, Herman went away, and 2 weeks later he came to me and says, wow, that was an awesome session. I didn't know that so many revenue streams were possible, but I can't do it on my own. He said, wouldn't you consider doing it with me? And that's actually how it was formed. So it was Hat Dynamics and Mischief Garage. And Mischief Garage was like Gas Monkey Garage. Collection of cars, petrol heads coming together, doing lifestyle things, branding and merchandise, induction noise type stuff. And recently, about a month ago, just over a month ago, Herman came to me and said, you know what, maybe we should just change Hat Dynamics and call it Mischief Motorsport, which actually is the company's name. It's Mischief Motorsport trading as Hat Dynamics. And I originally said, no, I bought into Hat Dynamics. It's like the M of BMW Motorsport. It's the AMG of Mercedes. But we genuinely did start finding it difficult explaining. And I've got a business partner in Australia, and they came visiting. And his wife honestly asked this question, and she didn't mean it. She said, so show me your hats that you guys make. and ironically, Herman had at the time spoken to me. He said, maybe we should just call it Mischief. And I thought, why would she think we make hats? So anyway, that kind of cemented the Mischief brand. So Mischief for me, what are we going about is building a brand, good values, professional, fierce, and what you guys are doing, petrol heads getting together and just having fun,
But you guys have some cool metal standing around here. I mean, you've got everything from we saw a really nice looking Alpha in the other
Very
Montreal,
nice looking
two
Alphas.
very nice Alphas in there. There's a
nicer than a
Montreal and
Montreal.
a GTA in there.
GTA.
Yeah, me and Andre had to add a change of clothes after.
We have a Subaru over there that doesn't need head gaskets, which is like unheard of on a Scooby. That's a 2JZ build that you've got going on there.
So yes.
So you guys build all kinds of really cool stuff.
We do.
Unconventional stuff that you wouldn't necessarily be able to go to your local workshop and have them build it for you.
Yeah, we do. And, it's been difficult getting... So I come, as I said, out of the IT world. We do software development. Everything is hourly driven. Everything's precision. It's a percentage of something's utilization. And that's what I've kind of brought into this business. And the one thing that we found with the modified cars and the performance cars, as you guys well know, it's very difficult to cost something.
Yeah.
What we've tried to do is to say, look, it's going to cost you, but we can guarantee you that every hour spent will be spent in the right direction. How long's a piece of string when somebody says, look, I'd like you to install my turbo? Well, it's like saying, I'd like you to build my house.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, it's not like my Harper where I go to have the body fitted to the frame and then there's 70 grand's worth of R&D before it's actually on the car.
100%. But it's also just what branding are you going to use? What ECU? Are you going to go with a Max or Dictator or Spitronics, or are you going to go slightly higher up the scale and go with Motex and Haltex? They've all got great value in the value chain. But I mean, I think even there, what I've learned, and it's something that's probably worthwhile for most guys that are thinking of modifying their cars, they'll spend tons of money on the bodywork, on the engine, beautiful engines. They'll spend tons of money on the brakes and the calipers and you name it. And then they put in a 4 or 5 grand engine management system. That really, no disrespect to any of the cheaper management systems, but
there's a place for it, right?
Exactly.
You're not going to put in a Motec in your City Golf that you kind of put a small turbo on or something, unless you want to spend a lot of money.
Or unless you want to save money, because so maybe you go to a Max ECU or in that branch where you're saying, okay, well, that's 20 grand or 22 grand. But just yesterday, we took our Lightning McQueen, our turbocharged Lemon, and had it not been for us having the proper, we got a top-of-the-range Spitronics that we're running there, it could basically detect that there was something, and it shut down the engine before we could.
Herman was explaining earlier when you get fuel surge or something in a turbocharged car, that can be disastrous.
Yeah.
And with most cheaper ECUs, by the time you detect it happening, you've already blown up your pistons.
Yeah. It'll tell you something has blown up.
That thing, if it picks up variations in your fuel pressure, it just shuts itself down and goes safe.
Well, I think
save the motor.
Where that is really, so like Herman says, even the best aftermarket ECU cannot compare to a standard ECU. The amount of R&D that's been put into
Millions
it.
of.
But if we look at our Scooby, with our 2J Scooby, I was the one that insisted that we go with the Haltech. It's not cheap. And Herman's like, oh, that's such a lot of money. I said, oh, well, what do you think this car's costing? Well, he knows what it's costing.
Yeah.
But the point I was making is we've gone top of the range on everything. We've gone drive-by-wire, you name it. I said, if this thing blows, it's going to be a hell of a lot more money. So let's go with the top of the range system. And absolutely everything on that car, it's completely integrated. There are no aftermarket gauges. It's complete. It's got everything: launch control, rally, the flat shifting. It's got speed sensing on the power steering. It's got the aircon works. It will shut down.
It's a proper car.
Any form of temperature, water, air, oil. So you can drive the car like you stole it, knowing that it will look after itself.
It's an investment in.
Absolutely.
You're protecting your investment. That's you're making an investment in. It's like insurance.
100%.
Protecting.
So I think just knowing, and so that's what we've started doing as well with our clients, is just saying, listen, you're spending so much money and investing in your car. Start at the engine management system. Get that plumbed properly and professionally, which is what we do. And then you can we're always adding. You're always needing budgeting, getting some more. And that's really been good advice. And we've had many a convert that enjoy that. And their cars are so much better for it.
Because almost like a human there, right? So if you say, yeah, I've got this goal and I want to start doing something, I want to get fit, or I want to do some business thing, you must first get your mind right.
Yeah.
If you don't have a brain that's
don't skip
your
leg
mindset,
day.
don't skip brain day. If your mindset isn't right, it's no point in doing all these things. So you can go start gymming and do all these things, but if you don't have the right mindset, it's not going to work. So
100%.
your car needs the right mindset.
Yeah.
Can we sort out Andre's noises in his car that keeps on worrying him? Maybe we must do a video about that.
Maybe we should
We should just bring the Alpha here.
I think I just may just leave my car here.
But it's been 3.5 years, and the business has really thrived. Herman's our best salesman because it's a team that he's built, he's a hard taskmaster. He's a fiery German, but he's also a really cool, soft guy. He's fiery on precision and excellence, and that's where he and I we cut from the same cloth. So I think that what we've built is a team. We're needing more. So if there are any mechanics or would-be technicians that are looking to want to come and work at Mischief, just
That's happy to work at a high standard.
High standard, absolutely. No, but we genuinely are needing more mechanics. We've gone through one or two that haven't quite cut the grade or made it. But again, I say that unashamedly. We need to look our clients in the eye and return the trust. And that's really where it's at. So, I think coming to today, I was saying to Matthew, today was probably we've had many a day when obviously we do our Mischief sports car hire and the tours and stuff. And then we have all I want to say contestants, the participants, they're all pitching early morning, 6 o'clock, 5:30, having coffee, all excited before they get into their Z3s. And today was one of those days where it all came together for me. The building is over 100 years old, that one. This is the old Market Toyota workshop.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Wow.
And so it's got a lot of history to it. But having you guys sitting here, having Matt in and out of his studio, having the cars pulling by through what used to be Market Toyota's workshop and what is now the Mischief, right next to the Mischief bar where we drink coffee as well.
It's kind of like motoring heaven. You don't want to leave this place. Like I was thinking, I'll have a bed up here, and then it's you'll never want to leave, right?
Yeah.
It's what you need.
But so a lot of people ask me, what do I get out of this? I think I'm one of the luckiest oaks alive right now because I've got a few cars. Every single one of them run perfectly all the time. I've got the 996 turbo, and you know the specs on that, Quentin, and he was on. He said, "Listen, let me tune this thing, man. It'll be a safe tune. Then they wanted to put an aftermarket exhaust. I said, I want the thing original. I want. She says, okay, then let me take the cat out. I said, yeah, but you can't cut it out. Yeah, I don't. So they went drilling through the exhaust. It took them like 2 days.
Yeah, to get everything
they
out.
removed the cats. And you get this deep rust now. Obviously a D-cat in 996. But then he tuned it and it was strong. It had 306 kilowatts, if I remember, standard, and 630-ish newtons. So it was strong.
Yeah.
When he was finished, it had 375 kilowatts
Jeez.
Wow.
and 750 newtons. And he'd also removed the first, second gear,
The limiter,
the limiter.
torque limiter.
And then he took it for a run and he didn't snap his neck, but he snapped it. He
hurt his
He came in. Man, what a car. I mean, it's
That's
nice.
crazy.
It transformed the car.
I think Neil will put his name up for if you ever sell that, because he's kind of a 996 lover here.
Absolute sucker for it.
We're on the same page. You
Yeah,
know,
absolute
I
sucker
know
for that
there's
car.
this, oh no, but that's the ugly duckling. I chose that car. I've got the 991, which
I kind of like the 996 as well.
Yeah,
I'm also
I
996.
love.
Not the early ones. The white body
the
one,
white-
the 4S and the
and also the
turbo.
clear lenses.
Yeah.
Not the egg.
Not
what
the
they call
orange
it,
one, the
egg
egg
white.
The
light.
first ones
Yes.
are, but
Yeah, just
The
tell
dot
Nigel
2, the
Bates
dot
about
2. I mean, I'm a sucker for a 4S.
that. Yeah.
The 996 4S. Like I was messaging them this week. I saw one. I'm like, I think I'm in love now. So whenever when I saw that, we were talking and said, excuse me, I just want to take a quick walk. Have a look there.
No,
It's beautiful.
I recently bought a Boxster, the 987, the Boxster S. It just spectacularly good shape. It's like immaculate. Probably fails to describe the car. And I looked and I thought, this is not only a survivor. It's 16 years old, but it's in amazing condition. So, segue, my wife's got a Z3 that's also an interesting story. We call it our Free State Ferrari. Because we got a client called Rassi Erasmus. He lives in Virginia in Free State.
the other Rusty.
The other Rassi.
The same one.
Yeah, same Rassi.
Oh, this Rusty. Okay.
So Rassi brought his Lumina down here, having watched Ignition TV when we had
Okay.
Mischief on Ignition.
Yes.
And he watched them and he said, well, I got to get my car down. So he flatbedded it down here. And we sorted the car. And so whenever Rassi needs his car serviced, he and his wife jump into his Lumina, drive down, spend a few days in Cape Town while we service or tune it and send it back. So he came to me because of the Z3s and the sports car I was standing. So he says to me, listen, are you interested in my Z3? You know, because Nai's become a grandparent and all his cars are two-door, two-seaters. And he needed a two-door, four-seater. So I said, what are you going to buy? He says, I don't know. I said, well, why don't you get an M4? It's like, he now owns the M4. And then he said to me, you know, do you want to buy the Z3? And knowing how fastidious he is about his cars, I sight unseen. I said, yeah, okay, I'll buy it. And then decided to make a road trip of it. My wife and I flew up. When we seen this car, yes, but he's got a full imported Schnitzer kit on it.
Oh,
So it's got wings and, it looks like a Free State Ferrari. It's red. So I was like, no, look, we'll drive it down. It's because it's got the wooden frame steering and all that. So I thought, we'll bring it down and then I'll standardize it, or normalize it. But at every stop that we were coming down, it's even got double pipes at the back.
Oh, wow.
People were coming over to us asking about this car. I was like,
The Ferrari.
so I said, no, Free State Ferrari it is. So then she loves this car, right? It's not a daily, but so I said to her, listen, this red Boxster S came in, it's beautiful. I think if it goes like it looks, then I think I'm going to buy it for you. But then we're going to have to sell or move the Z3 into the fleet. Like she says, no, if it's nice, it looks really nice, I'll take it. So of course, I buy the car. I said, I bought the car. She said, no, I'm keeping the Z3.
She really took you for a pop.
To be fair, she probably learned from you because I'm pretty sure there was one of these that you said, nah, if I buy this, I'll get rid of the other one, and it's still here.
But that's what she said to me. I said, what are you going to do? You've got your daily and now you've got two sports cars. She said, that's rich coming from you. Like,
Yeah. No, exactly.
He's got a
Pot
point.
calling the kettle there.
So, Sean, there's obviously lots of overlap between the kind of stuff that you guys do and Illamuna. So the match between Mischief and Lemons, I would say, is pretty an obvious one. How did you and Mark get in touch with each other and make this all happen?
Very good question and very good observation. So yes, I agree. I love the concept of the Illamuna. I'm very fortunate to be in a position where we've got top mechanics that can do pretty much anything to our cars, including turbocharging our Golf, just because the race Golf. To have people being able to experience what I get to experience and what guys that race get to experience through this Lemons model is amazing. So to answer your question, Mike J of Mr. Lotus Caterham fame, and Mike's a really good friend, and we become really good friends through cars. And there were two. My first experience was in Nigel Bates's 7.
The bloaters.
You guys, No, before bloaters.
Oh, before the
red one.
The red one.
Well, the red one that was the white one.
That was the white one. And Mike was driving one of his Caterhams. I forget which one it was. But then John Pratt, who subsequently bought his Harper, and myself were hopping between Mike and Nigel. And by the time we got back, we both ordered Harpers, and I bought what we call the Foxy. It was aptly named by a singer, because it was Foxy, as in Foxy. And she's being slightly Afrikaans speaking, said, well, Foxy. She's known as Foxy. And that's how I got to know Mike. And Mike brings his cars here. We do servicing. We'll talk about Sean Mackerel's Jetmobile later. But Mike phones me, says, Sean, I got somebody I'd like you to meet. And he's got an interesting concept and proposition. So he brought Mark Castle to meet me. Okay, nice. And Mike says, I know Sean, and we kind of get things done when we decide to do things. Mark and I chatted, and it was 10 minutes, and I said, cool, I'm in. And that's how we became the headline sponsor for what is now the Mischief 9.
But you guys aren't just sponsoring, you're also competing.
Yeah. So, and again, I'm stating the obvious. Even if we were to be lucky enough to win, we can't win as a sponsor. So we're not looking.
So is that why you've built a turbo machine that clearly ignored the budget completely?
No, actually. So we actually genuinely tried, and we have managed to come. So that was Herman's old group, Clubman's racing car.
Okay.
And it ran an NA 1800 motor, 95 kilowatts. So I said to him, listen, most people have this view that turbocharging is unreliable, is expensive, so I said to him, why don't we prove it different? Why don't we prove them wrong?
Okay.
So every pipe on that car, the intake manifold, everything has been fabricated on site at Mischief.
Wow.
We took an old seized, it's a combination of an Iveco, small turbo, because Herman wanted a small turbo
housing?
Small turbo housing for zero lag or minimum lag.
Yeah.
And we needed boost as well. So he got a Ford Focus front end, and we modified the impellers. And it was actually boosting more than what we could handle. We couldn't.
Couldn't crank it up all the way.
Yeah, the small boost controller, the wastegate, was too small to keep it at 0.5 bar.
So it was overboosting.
Overboosting. So then we installed a Chinese, just so you know, $2,000 boost or wastegate, and the car we dropped it. We just put a 3 mil because that's what we needed, a 3 mil spacer on the cylinder. Brought the compression down to 8 to 1. And it's making 125 kilowatts at 6,000 RPM with 235 newtons.
That's proper.
And we put it up to 0.8. On pump fuel, it's pushing 115 kilowatts and 280 newtons. So we're going to run it at 0.5. It's quick. We shook it down yesterday. We weren't happy with the handling because it was Herman's car. But it was Herman's car on semi-slicks.
Yeah.
And we obviously running on the Lemons racing, we have to run with the road tires.
Yeah.
And she was very bouncy and all that, so we've unfortunately needed to adjust coilovers and the likes. But that's what we're doing after this. With everybody gone, we can go back to our workshop. But so for me, it's to prove that genuinely the turbo, I think it might have cost us, if it cost us 10 grand, would be I'd be like,
Wow.
probably $5,000.
And it's kind of showing off your work that you can do. So
Yeah.
obviously, it's almost like a canvas you have there for your own advertisement.
So you say like it's an Iveco from an Iveco housing.
Yeah.
So it's about the term hybrid turbo taken to a whole new level, basically.
Yeah. And, and I said to him, and look, you guys probably may have heard of Sparkle's my E30 turbocharged BM. We do drifting with it, and we do gymkhanas. We've had 2 seasons of absolutely hammering the crap out of that thing. It's turbocharged on a standard motor. It's still perfect. And it's Herman's philosophy, reliable tuning. So he'll take it to a point where
It's safe.
it's safe, and then he'll bring it back by 5 to 10%.
Out of interest, is that a 6-cylinder or 4-cylinder?
No, it's 6.
Okay.
It's a 3 to 5, 3 to 8, 3 to 8
8.
motor. Yeah.
I mean, as you say, Herman tuned Andre Ferreira's Type 6, which runs the same engine as my car. And that car then got turbocharged.
Yeah.
Herman did the whole setup. Herman tuned it on the dyno, set up the turbo, the wastegates, pressure and everything. And Andre raced that car for several seasons.
Yeah.
Never had an issue with it. Stock internals, pump gas, and it's perfect.
Yeah. These are mechanical things, and if you understand them, and you are what's the word I'm looking for? Sensitive and towards driving the car. So what we've done with the Golf now, we're limiting the revs to 6,000 RPM. We can go up to 7. The motor used to rev at 7.4, 7.5. We got it down to 6. We're going to be scooting around between.
See you, Mark.
We're going to be scooting
See
around
you next
between
week.
2 and 6,000 RPM. We've put in a diesel Polo box because it's stronger. Fifth gear is so you can go like. I think it's got a theoretical top speed of 300 k's an hour.
I was going to say, your final drive must be quite tall on that thing.
So so we probably be using third and fourth. During the testing we did, it was absolutely fine. So no, you know what?
I was actually looking this week. You talk about the turbo, the diesel. While they were prepping the car, I was going on Auto Trader and I was looking at 1900 TDI Polos. I'm thinking, what can you buy a Polo for? Because I think something like that.
That could be quite
good
a
car.
You could do like a
That's
small little
proper.
Polo diesel.
You must
You'll
check
get
when
far
Herman,
on fuel as well. You will
but you
get,
must check when Herman tunes those things.
yeah.
No, they're very, very powerful.
They're
Yeah, but
big power.
those motors are also indestructible.
Big power.
They're just like built like tanks.
And for an endurance kind of race, they can go quite far in a tank, right?
100%.
So you can get a few more laps in before you stop.
It's our Audi 1 Le Mans.
Yeah.
And in
No,
diesels,
exactly.
and successfully.
Yeah.
So you spot on the money. I just said let's show that with a low cost, we're running Spitronics. It's the top of the range Spitronics. Again, sponsored by Spitronics. Top of the range, or just a well put together, sorted motor car. We completely stripped it, made sure that all the gaps, everything properly built, and no oil leaks, no water leaks. Turbo's doing what it should be doing. And, we're going to run an unstressed motor. And it should be fine.
Something that's worth sort of mentioning as well, just because it is kind of what you guys do. Looking at the cars today, most of them, you can tell they're lemons. They've been sort of stuck together with duct tape and a prayer. Whereas if you go and look at the work that no one will ever see under the bonnet of that Golf, it looks beautiful. It looks like a show car under
Like
the
a
hood.
piece of art.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of the values we've instilled. I said to the guys, and look, what has changed? We've gone from working on low-end cars to really high-end cars. There was a GT2 that came in for a tune the other day, and we've got that Alpha Montreal inside. We've got, they're nice cars. I don't care what the car looks like outside, but the engine bay, when it leaves Mischief, will be spotless. Any work, any bay, any engines that we overhaul, if needs be, we'll send it away to have the bay resprayed. Because for me, that's the jewelry. And that's what we're about. And so that, again, it looks expensive. And if we had to tally up the labor, it would be expensive. But absolutely everything, the piping, the manifold, has all been made on site. TIG, MIG, you name it, they've done it all year.
But there's also, I think, like when you talk about cleaning now, I think I always, as someone who's a bit pedantic about, even if I've got something that's old, like I do on my go-kart, I always try and keep it clean because it shows you where there's any leaks, right? It starts pointing to something's clean or shiny. It shows you where there's leaks. And secondly, also if there's dirt, it traps heat, right? So if there's contamination, so it's like it's not just about how it looks; it's about how the engines will perform,
I
right?
think it's more about the culture. It's Rudy Giuliani many years ago when he fixed New York. It was the broken window syndrome. So if the car's slightly dirty on the inside, well, then why do we need to put fender covers on?
Care of it less.
Yes.
Exactly. So it's why I put porcelain tiles in the in the dyno. Someone was like, porcelain. I said, this is going to get dirty. I said, exactly. Then we clean it more.
Yeah.
That was the thing.
Make sure it's clean.
These are the same tiles. So again, I think it's all really about bringing precision and bringing passion and excellence. That's what we strive for all the time. I said, you're never going to reach absolute excellence, but if you strive for it, then, Gary Player, the more he practiced, the luckier he got, So
do you guys do normal servicing as well?
Absolutely.
Because my car needs to come for its annual service soon. So I've got some stuff I need to get done to it. So.
And while it's here, you might as well
Just also leave it. I've got a few brake discs I need to fit. Apparently,
put a thicker, kind of head gasket on there. Slap a bit of a Iveco housing with.
Now, our target market initially was, when I came into, before I met Herman, I've been a BMW nut for years and then got into the Porsches and more recently Mercedes, the AMGs. We are ingrained with this concept of motor plan and the 100,000 Ks being the axe of death.
That's rubbish.
Exactly. You go anywhere in the world, cars do 200, 300, 400, 500,000 Ks if they're well maintained. People don't suddenly reckon, well, my 996, which is now 84,000 Ks, even that's high for a...
You better sell it before 100, before it explodes.
Exactly.
Well done for driving it as well, because I hate it when it's like these cars sitting around with 15, 20,000 Ks.
My wife and I flew up to Durban, bought it from SMG Collection, and I drove it down.
Awesome.
Cabrio in summer. What a pleasure. Now, so for us, the target market was sports cars. So the AMGs, the M cars, the high performance Golfs, the GTIs, the Rs, the Honda, any one of the performance cars that people feared to own outside of Motorplan. The Range Rovers, the supercharged Jags and the likes. And they found a home here because, it just works.
I think the reason, right, why people are afraid to run something out of Motorplan is because people don't know, and I've got that problem myself, and all of us at some point is you finding a service provider that you can trust.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, at least if you're at a dealership and you guys new, at least there's some kind of reputational thing. There's somebody. If you go to some guy outside that's not the dealership, you never know. And if the work's not up to scratch, you often just get a guy like, it is what it is, and it becomes a whole thing.
Yeah.
So I think people are just afraid of the hassle and all those things. So finding a place where you can build that trust, I think, is a challenge for people in general.
100%. And as Herman pointed out, every one of our mechanics are Merck qualified in the shop. It's not that we've got really good repair shop assistants, but we have qualified mechanics. Look, I can't emphasize the trust enough. When you have an expensive car, and again, Q, you know about expensive cars and it's what you do for a living. I look, so my wife drives what was my Range Rover Sport. She decided that when we became grandparents, SLK AMG was no longer applicable, and she just commandeered my Range Rover Sport. The reason I mentioned that car is it's over 3.2 or 3.3 million rand new. Okay, I might get, after 7 years, I might get 700 grand, maybe 650. It's the top of the range. It's nice. It's got all the extras. But that means I still have to put in some 2.6, 2.7 million
to replace
for a car in perfect condition, low mileage, perfect condition. So I looked at it and I just said, yes, I'm lucky now to have access to these guys, but self-insure for goodness sake.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to spend 2 million or 2.3 million on the identical car, albeit 7 years
That's a lot of maintenance, even a lot of unexpected maintenance you can do for 2 million.
And if you can insure on a car like that comfortably for a liquid 100 grand and don't stress about it, it'll come in and maybe it cost you 12 grand. But on the day that it needs something substantial, maybe it's 60 grand. You still got your 100 grand and you don't have the installments and you don't have, or whether you buy cash or not, you don't have that massive depreciation.
You can invest that money in something else rather than.
So that's the market, and I've seen guys coming in with, now that they understand it. One of the offerings that I personally enjoy is what we call the executive upgrades. One of the most noteworthy, a friend of ours lives in Wynberg, Vlakte. His wife's got a Volvo estate that she absolutely adores, but wasn't the 4x4 one. It was the standard.
Oh, the V70.
V70 or the V40. The one. And it came in looking tired, white. The leather had started stripping off the door panels. It was peeling off the gear knob had worn right through. It had creaks and the shock mount at the back. It was good. It was flawed. And I said to Mike, I said, listen, man, if she loves this car so much, why don't we do an executive upgrade? He says, what's that? I said, well, we won't respray it completely, but send it to the panel shop, to Ambulance, sort that out. I said, you guys are living in Wynberg, Vlakte. Why don't we do a suspension upgrade, put a lift kit in it, put some knobblies, or not full-out knobblies, but, off-road. All-terrain tires, and let's do the interior, give it a full service. We changed the clutch, I think, as well, and serviced the central locking system. When that car came back, he could not believe it's now driving beautifully. It's been raised. It looks brand new because it's been sprayed and sorted. The white is now bright white. The leather is black and sorted. Cost him 70,000 rand. And they've got a car for...
But it functions like a new car.
New car. New shocks, raised suspension, you name it. So there is definitely a market. But as you said, if you send it to the wrong people, you can lose 70 grand.
You spend 80K and you walk away with something that's not quite what it should be. And you end up just kind of giving it away eventually. Because.
So I think that's really, if you ask me why we exist, besides bringing petrol heads together and the lifestyle side and going on runs and being able to chat amongst petrol heads like this. I know we do the Clarence guys, and we all do it. We love it. It's
in Mexico.
In Mexico, yes. It's really being able to. I personally I enjoy the upgrades because you restore cars and their memories. Cars, I know they are pieces of metal, but yes, I've seen people cry.
Oh yeah,
so it's an emotional thing. Right? And I think when we can return the trust and we can reinvent someone's dream and say, there you go, you got much more motoring. And we've had a major upsurge in women clients because word gets out, go to these guys. And like Urban will say to me, I think I've just talked ourselves out of some business there. I said, no, you haven't. Because like people will come and say, look, I want to put a dictator on, or I want to put this on. And Urban says, well, you're wasting your money. You're going to get 5 kilowatts. And if you want me to do it, I'll do it. But I'm telling you now, there's no reason to do that. Oh, I want to change my pipe. I want to put in an intake manifold. And this, he says, no, you're wasting your money. And you'll spend a half an hour explaining why. But those people walk away thoroughly impressed. And then they want to spend money somehow.
It builds the trust.
Exactly.
Now, I think probably the most important question that all of us are just dying to ask here. If I came in here with my car and I said to you guys, I want a Pops and Bangs map, would you show me the door?
Herman would.
Yes. This is our kind of establishment.
But then Naeem is also a tuner and he doesn't mind putting on the Pops.
Okay. So ask for Herman when you come here. Ask for Herman.
No, I'm only joking. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, there was a guy that came in here and Herman figured it out with a knob, like a volume knob. He plumbed that into the dictator, not the dictator, what's the other one he puts on?
Spitronics.
No, I'll get to it now. The fuel and timing tool. It'll get back to me. It'll get back to me. But he plumbed that in, and literally the guy could sit and he put your foot in the accelerator, put it on flat, and then you turn the knob.
Oh wow! Set the
Engine revving up.
Yeah.
They went nuts. The Unichip. He basically plugged in the Unichip and he could tune it like that. Literally the guy would sit. So he brought both his cars. It was a E30 BM, they loud pipes in it.
should not. I'm looking for a spot to park off or something, and then turn the wrong knob. I just want to turn the volume down, and then you end up going 1,000 horsepower.
But you talk about the Scooby. We've now got an 8 HP box that's going to be going in there.
Wow.
We've. I don't know if you've seen Wayne's yellow. It was at any of you at the track yesterday?
No, not yesterday.
So he's got an RX-8 that he basically installed a 2J with Herman's guidance. He's one of Herman's best mates. That car is insane. And we've installed an 8 HP in there. It's still got the manual pedal and operates like a manual if you wanted to. You can pull it out, pull away. Because the clutch and all that is electronically managed. So you can drop the clutch and pop it out.
Okay.
Crazy.
Nice.
It's
That is
crazy.
very
So we're doing the same to the Scooby now.
Wow.
And the whole idea of the Scooby was to dare and to show people what's possible.
The Scooby, is that rear-wheel drive only now?
Yeah.
I was going to say.
It's a drift monster. It happened in Mexico, but Herman was putting it sideways, and then the diff said, I don't know. and then Warwick at Auto Gears at your way. He came back and we tuned his lemon, and he handed us back our fixed differential.
Trade for a trade.
Trade for a trade. Trade exchange.
There we go.
Well, Sean, thanks very much for having us here today, and obviously for helping Mark put on Illamuna, because that's going to be epic fun. I think we're going to have a blast. We love what you guys are doing here. I think we're going to be back here more often.
Pleasure.
Probably with our cars.
I hope you have space for some alphas, because I think we've got a few.
Now his
few
floors are
that
clean,
needs
but
to be
we can't bring
serviced in the future, and we know where to bring them now.
No,
got some
offers are great.
sorted out.
Yeah. No, thanks. It's been great having you guys. As I said, when you called me, I kind of had this in mind. There is the other boardroom table, as we call it, is in amongst the cars down there. Okay. So it's quieter down there. But no, it's been great having you.
That was quite cool having us here
in the middle of it.
with the cars coming through, looking at them going, that did not cost 55.
There's some very cheap Nissan 350Z in this.
No, but I mean, talking about Mark, it's been an absolute pleasure working with him and his wife, Natalie. They really are. When I say smooth operators, I mean that as a compliment.
Yeah.
We like-minded individuals.
Efficient.
We make a decision. The only decision that we don't want to do is the one we don't make.
Yeah.
And it's come together seamlessly. It's a massive undertaking. We were at Killarney yesterday, and everybody, it's buzzing. They're all talking about. There's the VIP areas. There's big sound and lighting, and there's a VIP lounge. So we've really brought a bit of Kyle Army.
It's a grassroots event, but on a proper
scale,
proper motorsport
and
scale.
That's what we wanted to achieve, and it's going to be for the next 3 to 4 years at least. I know Mischief will be involved with it for that, but we're in good hands with Mark, and he's bringing some good skills and cars down from Joburg and from the Eastern Cape.
Yeah.
So long may they last.
Yeah, and we mentioned it earlier. There's such a buzz around this. Like there's really a proper buzz, like a big motorsport event, and it is a big motorsport event.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people coming down. The range of drivers, from brand new people. My dad's 72 years old. He's first time racing.
Oh wow!
We've got guys that are like Kieran, 20 years old, racing for the first time. We've got proper racers. We've got one guy, Jason, from another group that races that 458 Ferrari GT3.
Yeah.
He's coming down with some mates. There's
I don't think they're racing the Ferrari though.
I think
Not
he's going to
gonna
bring
make
the
the
Ferrari
cut.
and take some penalty laps. But it's just such a range of there's ex-champions. We've got Divan. We've got all these guys that
Chris
are going to race.
was here earlier.
Chrissy and them are also going to race. Yeah, I mean,
And he walks in, and of course him and Herman go back a long way.
I mean, but Chrissy's racing royalty. I mean, he's from the most famous racing lines in the country ever. Right?
Well, us today, and how small is this world, right? So I was an apprentice mechanic at Alfa Romeo in the
Hey.
80s. Yeah, I did.
Oh, I see.
Oh gosh, okay, here we go. We're starting all.
I'm gonna have to change memory cards on that. Yeah, 'cause it's just,
I ended up, I was in the motor trade from 83 till early 85, mid 85. It's when Alpha pulled out of the country.
Yeah.
And I lost my apprenticeship. And fortunately, I was good at maths and science. And I then went into IT. And the rest, as they say, is history. But my journeyman was a guy called Dougie David. His journeyman was Koos, one of them.
Okay.
So, of course, I bumped into Koos and I said, listen, I was Dougie's appy.
Wow.
He couldn't believe it. He said, geez, you bringing back memories now. That, you know, so it really is it's a great networking event. And today was just spectacular. I think the vibe and the fierce.
we haven't even raced yet, and it was awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the camaraderie is there. Everybody's out to help everybody, and that's cool. That's cool. Like, photos of this, take more photos. Yeah. Put it on your car and you make it happen.
Well, guys, if you've got a car that needs servicing or work done, come check out Mischief Garage. They
build
obviously
some
know what they're doing.
Sort of monster with a different engine in it.
Yeah, like a rear-wheel drive Mini with a LS4 in it or something.
like a Ford that you want to put a reliable Alpha engine in or something. Like that. You know, these guys can sort you out.
If you want to talk rubbish, you can come on our podcast.
At least between all the rubbish talk, we're going to do one thing and one thing only.
Stay classy.
Stay classy, San Diego.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Thanks.